When you find source material that is so wonderful and resonates with generations of children and families, there is something there that's special and universal and unique that you want to really retain. So to change that or to somehow not do it service seems counterproductive. It's like, that's why we love this story.
The story is a great story, but it's very short. It's sort of a one-act type of story. So to turn it into a feature, Wes and Noah, who we wrote the script with, had to develop it into a full-length story.
I had an idea of where it could start that's before what we experienced in the book. We wrote that, and then at a certain point, we said, now we're arriving at the book. And then we followed the book. And then at the end of that, we had an idea immediately, okay, something else happens right now.
Cider.
I don't remember it being much of a struggle. It almost felt like the book was ready to have other, to be a trilogy.
The spirit of the source material is there. A lot of the original dialogue, there's directly dropped in lines that came from the doll text.
We got the tail, but we missed the fox.
Obviously, there's whole scenes and scenarios and characters that we've expanded that did not exist in the book.
Let's see some hustle.
I think Wes has definitely written them, in a doll-esque way, but also in very much his voice, because he's adding something to it as well.
You should probably put your bandit hat on now. Personally, I don't have one, but I modified this tube sock.
We look good.
Yeah, we do.
What this film has going for it is Wes Anderson's sensibility. That's what's going to set it apart from any other animated film or stop-motion film in particular. He has very, very specific ways that he likes to shoot films and see performances done.
Contact. Good. And try one that's got a contact. Sure. Stand clear. Stand clear, please. Contact. Good, okay, good.
The other thing that he embraced from the point of view of animation was, okay, let's see if I can just sort of approach this in the way that I would approach a live-action film, and the way I would shoot the shots, the way I would block the scenes, and see if that plays in animation. It's easier to get emotion out of a real human being than out of a puppet, and there's certain conventions in animation that help storytelling that, that are very useful. But I think where he could, he tried to say, well, let's just follow the process I would follow in a live-action movie, and just do it, 100 times over, because that's what you have to do in animation.
Wes has very strong ideas. He's a designer as much as he is a director of the film. He has such a clear direction on the way he wants things to look. They are not very stop-frame friendly in a way, which is a good challenge for me. So I had to sort of take his unique, sort of dry, slightly adult kind of vision and make it into a stop-frame world.
Doing this sort of movie, it's a long process. And it's very detail-oriented. There's a million decisions, more than a normal movie, many more than a live-action movie. Because everything has to be made to be in there. It's miniature, and people are making decisions not in a moment-to-moment basis in the story, but in a frame-to-frame basis, and everything is just more intricate. In order to manage that, we found is you have to develop highly functional systems. Half of the process of making the movie was figuring out how to make the movie and how to manage all this information and to make sure that we get onto the screen what we want to get on there.
Wes and I are in touch many, many times a day. Part of the challenge of this job is trying to communicate his unique sensibilities from a performance point of view or art direction point of view to the animators, so that we're making a Wes Anderson film in every way.
The first thing that he did is he went through the script and he drew little thumbnail storyboards of pretty much every scene in the movie. Little tiny sketches that, were quite simple, but also kind of showed quite clearly the type of framing and world that he wanted to create. The next thing we did is we storyboarded the film with professional storyboard artists and edited that to the voice performances that have been recorded. Those were edited together with the storyboards, and that became our animatic.
Good job, Ash. Remember to keep your tail tucked.
The animatic edited together with the voices, with the instructions we had from Wes, we sort of brought on set and started to shoot the movie. It became clear right at the beginning that Wes had very, very specific ideas of how he wanted the puppets, the puppet actors and the animators to animate these puppets.
He goes away from the camera to the first of the thousands and thousands of chickens. He picks it up slowly. And it wakes up and he goes, right when it wakes up.
Wes obviously had his idea of how he wanted the shot to be. So how it sort of worked was he would do these videos of him acting out the script, basically. So he would play the part.
Because am I?
He had obviously a specific idea of what he wanted it to be, and it was usually quite clear as to very precise sort of facial mannerisms or gestures that the animator could then work with and pick out, sort of key elements that he wanted in there. And obviously from that point, that was a good basic sort of starting block for where the animator was going to go. Sometimes with the live action videos, they're actually multi-screened ones, so you'd have maybe 5 Weses in the shot, sort of playing out all the different parts that you put all together. You could probably get a film of Wes acting everything out, which would be great.
I can see when he's walking around here with the animators, he suggests ideas that they've never heard before. He does spin things on their heads. And I also see that what I'm sure would have been some sort of initial reaction or resistance, they now get excited when he walks in the room, and because they've all got it. Everyone's got the feel of it.
There's 29 units going at once. That's insane. I'm accustomed to one, and that's usually completely overwhelming. We have such a great group of people. Some of the best people doing animation in the world are here with us in London working on the movie. I was new to it, so I had so much to learn from all of these different people. And then our process is different from what they've done because of just the way that, just working with me. So we really had a lot to figure out, and I feel like we did.
Can you do the signature?
What's that?